So here's your dilemma during the pandemic. What are you going to read? Are you going to keep reading about the Trump White House, about the Steele dossier, the Russian collusion or lack of collusion, or just what? Good question. If you've read one or two of the books about some of these topics, that's probably enough. I'll tell you who's good value. It's always Bob Woodward. Read one of his books a while ago on one of the last Watergate characters, and it was very good slice of life. And you might say, why do we keep reading about this? Well, the same reason we keep reading about the Kennedys and Lyndon Johnson and Robert Caro's book about Johnson and about Nixon, because we find out how the presidency works. David Frum is always good value, and I show his book merely to name drop that I sat beside his mother, Barbara Frum, in the makeup chair. She didn't need makeup. It was I who needed the makeup at the CBC. And then if you like the media angle to it, Brian Stelter, CNN media critic, Hoax, and this is really more about Fox News and about Roger Ailes and Megyn Kelly and et cetera, but it's tangential learning, as we say in the education business. Michael Schmidt's book about Trump versus the United States, maybe a bit of hyperbole, but it does reveal how you go about being a good reporter in Washington, sources, what have you. He had a tip that Comey was going to be fired. He didn't pursue it. He didn't believe it. His editors didn't believe it, and yet he should have believed it. Sometimes some of these famous TV anchors also have a book deal because of the people who own their networks. Jim Sciutto on CNN, the Madman theory Trump takes on the world. This was really a pleasant surprise in its detail and excellence. The Madman theory comes from Richard Nixon spreading the rumor that he might use nuclear weapons in Vietnam, and also carpet bombing the North and the Christmas bombing and so on. And that was used by Henry Kissinger as a negotiating tool, and very common in labor relations as well. And then, so he's applied this to Trump, and it kind of works because he was so unpredictable, President Trump, that people thought he might do anything, and so they listened up, including North Korea and Iran and so on. Compromised, and this is the man, you pronounce his last name, Strzok, who discovered the Americans. If you've seen that TV series, the people who come and live as if they are Americans, they pretend to be Canadians who are living in America, and that is his take on the Trump years and how the Trump investigation and Russian investigation dovetailed with all those other things. And you know, it's more realistic than reading John le Carre. It's real life. And then here's the final one. Michael Wolff, Siege, and you know, he hung around the White House, had unlimited access. And I'll just read you something that sums up the entire book. He describes Trump as having head-smacking peculiarities. Well, that is an understatement. So you know all you need to know about Michael Wolff's book. On other blogs and podcasts, I may deal in more detail with the other books. Happy reading.